Additional police officers have been relieved from duty as officials continue investigations into the death of Tyre Nichols. The 3 EMTs were let go after an internal investigation into their actions at the scene of Nichols' January 7th encounter with police following a traffic stop, according to the Memphis Fire Department. The review showed they failed to conduct an adequate patient assessment of Mr. Nichols. The Memphis Police Department said that Officer Preston Hemphill and a second unnamed officer were relieved from duty. The 2 officers' actions and inaction continue to be the subject of an internal investigation. Police said that Hemphill and the unnamed officer were relieved from duty at the beginning of the investigation. The people who have now been...
I'm just going to give you a trigger warning. It's the first day of Black History Month, and you know Ben Shapiro knows that, okay? He's going to get probably extra racist with it, more racist than he usually is, which is impressive because he's always so fucking racist. So you know my man is going to go extra hard today, okay? As he often does. Like MLK Day, he's like, it's time to pop off. MLK was bad. He was wrong. The civil rights movement is actually is morally bankrupt, you know? Like he specializes. He like builds up all of his resentment towards black people from every other fucking day and channels it in extra hard on days and months like this. Glad to see we are starting Black History Month exactly the same way we did last year. I hope Crowder has some hits. Oh yeah.
Who have now been fired from the force are 2 of them are black, 1 of them is white, because race is the only concern for our media, apparently.
Okay. Blip, blip, blip.
Officer Hemphill, who participated in the initial traffic stop and the use of a taser, will remain on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation. The use of the taser, by the way, is not obviously the problem with regard to the Tyre Nichols situation. We watched the tape yesterday on the show, and we talked about the fact that Tyre Nichols fled on foot as he was leaving. They attempted to take...
If you don't fucking bring up the fact that even the fucking police chief said that this was not a warranted traffic stop, you are literally the worst person on the planet. I'm fucking, oh my God. He's already doing it. He's fucking doing it. Dog, how do you mention that he fled on foot after you said, no, he has to mention it.
So again, this is more reaction, legal reaction to what appears to be an egregious...
He didn't magically start running on foot, dude. He got yoinked out of his fucking car for no reason. They literally did not tell him what was going on while beating the shit out of him. Oh my God. That's insane. You did not want... Oh my God. There's no way. Did they show the entire footage?
Situation. The Memphis Fire Department said on Monday its investigation showed that the 3 fired EMTs found Nichols handcuffed on the ground and leaning against a police vehicle. Apparently, the department said that they violated numerous MFD protocols and policies. Unclear exactly what they were supposed to do at that point or what medical action would have been necessary in order to save Nichols or whether that would have actually materialized in any sort of change for Nichols. He did.
What? Bro, he's literally, oh my God. Does he think Tyre Nichols is Palestinian? Is that what he thinks is going on here? Because he literally is talking about it like the IDF. You know what I mean? Like when he talks about the IDF and like Palestinians, when he says like Palestinians live in shit. Israelis like to build. That energy is coming out of him right now. He said, what warrants medical action by medical professionals? How could they have saved this man? That's crazy.
Did die at the hospital of internal injuries, is my understanding. In any case, the media continue on their dual narratives of 1, the police are bad, and 2, this is all about race. So Sarah Haynes, the View is just a repository of all the lowest IQ humans on the planet, apparently. So Sarah Haynes said that we can talk about racism because the race of the officers does not matter. All the officers in this particular case, of course, were black. It is only the race of the victim that matters.
Oh, God. I wonder if it gets hard sometimes to be a conservative where you like routinely have to avoid looking at all of the fucking facts of a situation where like everyone is basically saying the same thing in unison, which is that like, and they're correctly saying this, by the way, which is that the police as an institution is acting out in a white supremacist way. Therefore, it doesn't fucking matter if a cop is black or not, because black cops are brutal historically and in contemporary society. They have always been brutal. Okay. They're just as brutal, if not sometimes more brutal, according to James Baldwin, than white cops. That doesn't mean that they're more brutal in general, but it doesn't matter. They're cops. Okay? They're cops. This is never about the individual. This is not about the individual. This is about a systemic problem. This is about what the police are designed to do. But of course, they never, ever, ever, ever want to fucking talk about that. They don't want to undermine that point. They don't even want to discuss it. They just immediately rush to, oh, everyone is talking about how these cops are black and it doesn't matter. Yeah, I wonder why it doesn't matter. Well, let's not talk about it.
Which is quite bizarre, since if you're going to claim white supremacy, typically white people are supposed to be involved in a claim of white supremacy, but apparently only the victim matters. You can still claim white supremacy so long as the victim is black. It does not matter who killed him. So presumably every gangland violence shooting in Chicago is the result.
What the fuck? Wait, first of all, yes, every gang shooting in Chicago is unironically a product of a white supremacist system. Yes, that is true. Unless you believe the inverse of that, which is that, like, black people are just unhinged and unruly and genetically predisposed to violence, which Ben Shapiro does believe, by the way. He does literally believe that. He just can't say it, because if he said it, then he would not be considered an intellectual. Everyone would understand him for the racist that he is. So he can't cross that line. Steven Crowder often crosses that line because he recognizes that his audience is really fucking stupid, and sometimes you got to really hammer in that point. But that's it. Ben won't cross that line, obviously. But that's it. What do you mean? Well, why? Why is gang violence a permanent fixture? I wonder. Why? Which, by the way, like, as far as violence goes, it's not like Chicago is the most violent fucking city or Illinois is the most violent state. You know what I mean? There are plenty of more violent red states out there as well. Now, of course, you have to understand that violence is caused by material conditions. This has been something that is studied and been talked about since ancient fucking Greece. Okay? Holy shit. Ancient Greeks were fucking talking about, like, oh, well, you know, it does seem like socioeconomic conditions contribute to violence greatly. But Ben still in 2023 is like, that's not true. That doesn't happen. It's actually because every individual is bad. They're just boo-boo people. They're bad. They're mean. They're meanie bobinis. That's why they're doing it. And of course, somehow it's always black people that are being mean and bad and aggressive.
Of white supremacy. This is one of these broad arguments that is beautiful for the left because it involves no actual outcome. You don't actually have to achieve a policy solution. You just blame white supremacy out there in the ether for all the bad problems on the ground. And then all of your policy prescriptions magically amount to radical leftist diversity, equity, and inclusion nonsense. Here is Sarah Haynes saying something very silly.
So silly. Dude, you're a villain, dude. Like, conservative propaganda has basically turned into, like, being like a villain in a child textbook. You know what I mean? Like in a fucking La Fontaine story, you're the villain, you know? Like, imagine advocating for sharing and equity. What a laughable notion. I hate equity. It's like, what the fuck? Why do we never, like, stop to be like, dude, what are you saying? Like, that seems insane to say. Why don't you feel uncomfortable just openly stating that you're a bad person? You are the villain in every story.
Part of police reform over the years were all these cameras, dash cameras, body cameras. And there is such a casualness to this aggression. And I did watch it because I think, you know, people say it was too hard to watch or I couldn't watch it. And I thought that's the least we can do, to watch what is going, because I think people have to see it sometimes to maybe be, one, I think there's a lot of people that do realize this is never acceptable, not okay. I think the fact that it was black officers shows it doesn't matter the color of the cop, it's the victim.
It's the victim. It's the victim. And meanwhile, Whoopi Goldberg, she of the
I will tie it back. When white people are brutally murdered by the police force, that is also a byproduct of white supremacy. Oftentimes we talk about how white supremacy kills white people as well. Okay? I'll tell you how. Because police are capital enforcers for capital, And because one of the biggest byproducts of that enforcement of the divisive politics that you need to engage in is the white supremacist justification for why you need incredible amounts of policing to begin with, that causes cops to be trained as an occupying force. And even when you're in a poor white neighborhood, because of all the justifications that you've gotten from prior white supremacist constructs of like, police have to be enforcers, police have to fucking kill people, police are always in the right when they kill people, that you end up also behaving that way against poor white people especially. You do. You do. And then you kill white people too, like Daniel Shaver in Arizona. Why is Twitch showing me a 27-month subscriber ads? First of all, I didn't even run the middle of the hour ad break, which I'm running now. But secondly, you're not currently subscribed. So I'm just letting you know.
Genius sort of sage presence on The View. She's like, I'm not saying that maybe white people need to get beaten up for police reform to happen, but maybe white people need to get beaten up for police reform to happen. Okay, so first of all, this is unbelievably stupid. We've seen many, many cases of police brutality against white people. In fact, some of those cases are significantly worse than what we saw with Tyre Nichols.
The capos of the camps in World War II were not anti-Semitic because they were Jews. Won't hear these motherfuckers take their argument to logical ends? Of course not. That is, and they would say that that's an anti-Semitic thing to say.
You know, that one case that I mentioned the other day of a white man killed by the police in a hotel is the Daniel Shaver killing of 2016.
Huh, interesting. This is one of the few instances where Ben Shapiros is talking about Daniel Shaver. Well, I didn't even know he was going to talk about it, but because it's always on the top of my fucking mind as a particularly brutal instance of police brutality and police violence, I can maybe explain it a little bit further, even though I just predicted that he was going to fucking say it, I guess, and openly mentioned it. The reason why that piece of shit cop got away with executing Daniel Shaver in broad daylight, brutally, after making him comply to his list of demands and then still murdering him regardless. The reason why he was able to get away with it, and the reason why Mesa Police Department actually still pays him PTSD damages. That's right. He's still on the government dime. He's getting paid for the PTSD that the cop who killed Daniel Shaver, the guy who killed Daniel Shaver, still gets paid. Is that number accurate? I thought it was like around $3,000 a month by the Mesa Police Department because he filed for damages saying he experiences PTSD from murdering a pleading man, which he was, of course, not found guilty of. Remember that. Now, of course, Black Lives Matter protested that unjustifiable execution. They were there. Ben wasn't there, but they were. Black Lives Matter were there because they understand that a police department that will engage in this extrajudicial killing of a white person will certainly never think twice about killing a black person. Duh. That's kind of the whole point here. Okay. But to help you understand it, the reason why he was able to get away with it is because police are seen as brutal enforcers. Oftentimes, the justification for that brutal enforcement is because they're brutally enforcing bad people. Substitute bad with black, and you'll understand exactly what justification cops have to behave the way that they do, which then ends up oftentimes killing white people as well. That's it. That's how cops also, that's how white people are sometimes victims of white supremacy in the hands of the police. There are many other ways, of course, that white supremacy harms white people as well. But a lot of them revolve around the animosity and the fear that is baked into your existence from the jump. White people are terrified of black people in many cases. I'm using like a broad paintbrush here. I'm not saying all white people are terrified of all black people, but like there is this white resentment, white animosity, white fear towards specifically black men. And that animosity, that fear is social conditioning, okay? And that social conditioning and that very real fear, right? The white flight to the suburbs, the fact that Donald Trump can so easily pinpoint that and say, oh, they're coming to your neighborhoods. They're going to come into your neighborhoods. They mean black people are going to come into your neighborhoods. Like literally rerunning the same old 1960s era fucking racism. And Biden as well. Exactly. That the reason why that is such a prescient and such a powerful motivator is because people are conditioned into thinking and believing that from the jump. Every aspect of our society is designed this way. Our education is designed this way. Okay? It reinforces that narrative. And that's a very powerful motivator for people. They're like, oh man, I am terrified of this. That's why we need to fund the cops instead of funding the social programs. That's why we need to fund the cops instead of funding the education system in underprivileged neighborhoods. That's why we need to separate through, invisible ways of redlining through the financial system, through the private sector, where black people live and white people live. That's why we need to stay away from black people. And that only reinforces that animosity, as you are otherizing a group of individuals that you rarely ever contact, that you rarely ever see as human beings, and then you end up only seeing black people in television and media, and the way that they portray black people in television and media is oftentimes, again, reinforcing those stereotypes, violent predators, right? And when you are a captive audience to that kind of propaganda, they can justify anything. And don't listen to me say this. Listen to Lee Atwater, who openly has talked about this very famously. Lee Atwater was a consultant for, I believe, Nixon as well as Reagan. Harvey Leroy Lee Atwater is an American political consultant and strategist for the Republican Party, and he was an advisor to the U.S. Presidents Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush, and the chairman of the National Republican Committee, the Republican National Committee. Now, I'm going to show a very famous video of his that you have seen time and time again, but I believe it always bears repeating. There's a trigger warning. A lot of N-words in this one, okay? A lot of N-word being dropped in the video. I'm just letting you know. Hold on. With a hard R. I am trying to... What the fuck? Why can't I... What is happening with the clip? Oh, here it is. This is Lee Atwater's infamous 1981 interview on the Southern Strategy. Now, buckle up for this during Black History Month, first day of Black History Month. Just, I think I probably play this on the first day of Black History Month every year at this point. Every year that I've been streaming, this is a video that I play because every year there's another black victim of police brutality or some other, reason why I have to play this, to show people that this is how easy it is to motivate particularly white people and how they can become, victims of white supremacy in this way. Nice Bathroom says, all we asked was for do-rag streams. This is what we got instead. Okay. This is in the 1981, the legendary brutal campaign consultant Lee Atwater was working in Ronald Reagan's White House when he was interviewed by Alexander Lemis. In this audio, made public for the first time ever, Atwater lays out how Republicans can win the vote of racists without sounding racist themselves.
Here's how I would approach that issue as a statistician or a political scientist, or no, as a psychologist, which I'm not, is how abstract you handle the race thing. In other words, you start out, and now y'all aren't quoting me on this. All right, I won't hear it. You start out in 1954 by saying nigger, nigger, nigger. By 1968, you can't say nigger. That hurts you.
That's a big bummer. You can't say it. That hurts you. People think you're racist when you say it in 1968.
Backfire, so you say stuff like forced busing, states' rights, and all that stuff.
Fun things that Joe Biden was on board with, by the way. You say forced busing, states' rights, you say all that stuff. States' rights also famously another way to uphold and justify the Confederacy. Remember, same arguments. Nothing has changed.
And you're getting so abstract now, you're talking about cutting taxes, and all of these things you're talking about are totally economic things, and the byproduct of them is blacks get hurt worse than whites. And subconsciously, maybe...
Welfare queen. Remember, welfare queen. A byproduct of the welfare queen mentality was the welfare reform that came during the Bill Clinton era. Okay? The concept of a welfare queen is supposed to be racialized. It's a racial concept. Even though there are more white people in poverty than there are black people in poverty. Why? Because there are more white people in this country. Who are the people who think this level of austerity on a social safety net, on a benefit that they need is actually good? Racist, poor people. That's who. That is how white people undermine their own material conditions. They think they're advocating against black people. Meanwhile, they do not realize that they're advocating against themselves as well. That is how white supremacy ends up duping white people and harming white people too.
That is part of it. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that if it is getting that abstract and that coded, that we're doing away with the racial problem one way or the other. You follow me? Because obviously sitting around saying we want to cut taxes, we want to cut this, and we want is much more abstract than even the busing thing, and a hell of a lot more abstract than Never Never, you know. So
Also, I mean, there's another one. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him something to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. Famous L. Big Dick J quote as well. There are so many instances of this where people just like openly fucking mention it. Yes, LBJ did have a gigantic penis. Anyway, that's unrelated to the conversation. Okay. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is like very openly discussed. You won't see it in history books. You won't see it in your textbooks. And as a matter of fact, Republicans now deny this. They deny that the Southern strategy ever happened. As the chatter correctly pointed out, they apologize for it. There was a time when the Republicans were trying to clean up their image and say we're a reform party. We're not like the old school Republicans, where they openly fucking apologize for it. Hold on, let me see. That apology is an admission for why it happened, by the way. So, you know. Yeah, here it is. Mike Allen, the RNC chief, said that it was wrong to exploit racial conflict for votes. This is a Washington Post article from 2005. It was called the Southern Strategy. Started under Richard Nixon and described Republican efforts to use race as a wedge issue on matters such as desegregation and busing to appeal to white Southern voters. They openly fucking apologize for it. Now, Ben Shapiro acts like it's not real. It's not a thing. This is CRT, ladies and gentlemen. I'm giving you CRT, okay? Healthy dose of it. So remember this. This is how white supremacy ends up hurting white people too.
Significantly worse than what we saw with Tyre Nichols. I mean, Tyre Nichols is really, really, really bad. Daniel Shaver is literally on the ground trying to comply with officers' orders, and they just murder him. So this notion that white people have never been the victims of police violence is absolute bullcrap. It is not true in the slightest.
No one has ever said that. That, my friends, is a straw man. That is known as a straw man. That's what Ben Shapiro is saying. No one has said this, so I'm just going to make up a guy. The lady that is criticizing did not say this. No one is saying this. Just Ben saying it.
But here's what...
This is the same exact thing that Republicans do all the fucking time. They can't find someone who's going to cheat and like become fake trans to like win a competition. So what do? They become that person. They literally do this. They're like, well, what if someone what if someone was fake trans specifically so they could win an athletic competition? I'm like, okay, there's no example of this. So then they do it. And it's like, bro, what the fuck? But you're faking it. Why the fuck did you decide to do it on your own? Because you couldn't find someone. That's it. It's always like this. It's always like this, dude.
Whoopi Goldberg, because, again, everything for Whoopi, just a reminder, Whoopi Goldberg believes that everything in life is racist except Hitler. That is an actual thing that Whoopi Goldberg has said, because she believes that
That seems like a little bit of an uncharitable assessment of what Whoopi Goldberg has ever said.
when Hitler went after the Jews are white, so it was white on white crime, so it wasn't racism. And here's genius Whoopi Goldberg.
Even though Whoopi Goldberg is not exactly, she's not exactly the best person for this kind of analysis, I'll be honest with you. You know?
When will the brutality finally lead to some police reform from the ground up? Because clearly, it doesn't matter if it's a white policeman or a black policeman. It is a...
She says something along those lines. I remember I covered it. It was a bad take. It was a really bad take. She said a lot of dumb shit throughout her very long career. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not here to defend Whoopi Goldberg. I don't give a fuck.
problem in the police and the policing itself. You know, seems things don't seem to make sense to people unless it's...
Yeah, Ted Danson was dating Whoopi Goldberg, and for like her birthday, he did stand up in blackface. I do remember that.
somebody they can feel or they can recognize. But how many times do we need to see white people also get beaten before anybody will do anything?
Again, white people get beaten pretty regularly by the cops. I mean, the rate of white people being shot by the officers unarmed, the number of white people shot by officers unarmed is significantly higher than the number of black people shot by officers unarmed every...
I wonder why. Wait, hold on. I wonder why. Wait a minute. Wait, you think it's... First of all, what is this argument? Okay. Let's analyze this for a second. So is that okay? Does that make the point valid all of a sudden? Like, oh yeah, it's okay when white people get shot by cops. But secondly, there's this weird thing called, I guess, statistics or you know, the likelihood of this thing happening to the black demographic versus the white demographic. You know, there are more white people in the country than there are black people, Ben. So I wonder what the rate is in comparison to the totality. Let me run that back. It almost feels like he slips up accidentally.
It will do anything?
Again, white people get beaten pretty regularly by the cops. I mean, the rate of white...
Oh, wait, the rate. Wait. Hold on.
Pretty regularly by the cops. I mean, the rate of white people being shot by the officers unarmed, the number of white people shot by officers unarmed is significantly higher than the number of black people.
Oh, dude, damn, bro, damn. So Ben does know the fucking real numbers. He just corrected himself and said, oh, the number. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. That's so weird, dude. You almost fucking accidentally revealed a truthful statistic for once in your goddamn fucking life on your stupid ass broadcast, you fucking piece of shit. Holy shit. I'm telling you, dude. This is like whenever he like accidentally correctly genders a trans person and then catches himself in the act and then stops to directly misgender them. Bro, you brainwashed? Motherfucker, how? Wait, where is the guy who said you brainwashed? Did you guys clap him that quickly? Come on, I want to hear more from this guy. Shit. How can you look at a situation where Ben himself knows the truth, okay, accidentally reveals the truth, but then fucking turns around and like correctly gives you the wrong information? That's crazy. God damn. Not Your Average African is literally Chris Kyle, dude. It's crazy. It's Black History Month. Okay, I'll let him have this one. Go ahead. Fine.
People shot by officers unarmed every year. So I'm not sure what...
Hey, yo, don't call me Chris Kyle.
hell she's talking about, except that everything is always racism, always and forever. Anna Navarro, just to complete our round trip of the view. And Navarro says people would have done more to help a dog than of Nichols. Again, presumably the idea is because he's black, which is weird.
I love the American Kurdish guy speaking in Turkish to me, telling me I'm the biggest racist because he's probably right-wing as fuck. It's so weird. Brother, what happened to you, man? You think these people fucking think you're a human? Like, the fuck? That's crazy. Dude, if America gave a fuck about Kurdish people, you know, you would have Kurdistan already. You know what I mean? You would have your own American-backed puppet state. They don't even care enough to build that for you. You know what I mean? They just use you as a weapon whenever they want to in the Middle East. That's crazy. Kurds back in America and Kurds back in Israel is you know, is never not going to be funny. It's like, good luck. Good luck with that.
Since 2 of the EMTs who have been fired are black.
The people that came to treat him and didn't treat him, the level of inhumanity in watching this play out, and some of these were reforms. That's the part that leaves me
people
feeling
would have done more to help a dog out than they did to help Tyre Nichols out, and that is inhumanity.
I mean, what I always like about these tapes is we all agree that what we saw was truly egregious, but the more you shout about it on TV, the more credit you get. That seems to be the rule. Again, we can all be...
Yeah, it's like, why are you getting mad? Okay, we got it. We got the point. Yeah, yeah, it was bad. Come on. Why are you getting extra mad? It's like he's more mad at the people that are fucking saying that this was insanely fucked up than he is at the act itself. That's crazy. Like, just for one moment, like, even remember, it's because it's, listen. Remember, Black History Month. Ben can't, in under any circumstance, hand it to the opposition, okay? Main ops for Ben, black people. It's Black History Month. He's going to have to be as racist as possible. He's like, you know. He has to do it to him.
I'll be outraged, and these people are going to jail. They're all being prosecuted. The kind of virtue signaling that you see on TV with all these people shedding what I imagine are TV tears is rather egregious. What if you spent too much money on your taxes and you can get some of that money back?
Oh my God, that fucking insane. Dude, you guys think my segues at the top of the hour are bad? He doesn't even fucking try, dude. At the top of the hour, when I serve you a 3-minute ad break, which, by the way, look down at your fucking computer clock and recognize that it is the top of the hour, so a 3-minute ad break is coming. But at the top of the hour, when I serve you a segue, at least I do it with dignity, okay? I do it with a dishonest, but somehow honest dishonesty, okay? That's right. When I serve you the top of the hour ad break, I at least put a little oomph in it. I catch you off guard. I lull you in with a sense of safety, and then I hit the top of the hour ad break. And I tell you, listen, you no longer want to see those fucking ads. All you need to do is subscribe, baby. You can do that for $5. You can do that for free. You can do that by getting gifted a sub. NP Sharky and Vardaz Giallo, thank you for the 5 get the subs, allowing 10 people to no longer see the ads. Okay? Ben just cuts the content and just bam, hits you in the fucking face. That's bullshit. There's no art to it. Nobody wants to work anymore. That's what I say. Ben's quiet quitting on these fucking ads. Here's the 3-minute ad break now, by the way.
Meanwhile, again, there are 2 narratives that have emerged from the media from this. One is that all the cops are bad, and so we have to stop policing. And 2 is that racism is the real problem. So we begin with the first argument, which is that all policing is bad. Professor Alexis Hogue-Forjor of the Brooklyn School of Law, she said, you know, maybe a solution here is that police don't actually need to administer stops in basic traffic violations.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm bored of this. I'm going to skip it. I don't want to watch the rest of it. It's just like, it's boring. Sorry, Ben. Your content is so fucking mid lately, dude. You can't even, he's just like, I thought he would be at least a little bit more clever. A 8.56 out of 10. Let's fucking go.